Online shopping is undoubtedly convenient, and there aren't many households that don't receive lots of boxes like these. But what about all that packaging? Don't throw any of it away before watching this video, because it can all be put to great use right here in the garden. Does anyone else find popping bubble wrap deeply satisfying? Many items come wrapped up in protective materials ranging from scrunched up paper to bubble wrap, and these too can be put to good use in the garden. Bubble wrap has lots of these air pockets, which makes it a great resource for insulation. It's also see-through, which means it's really good for use around plants. Now, I like to use it to wrap cold sensitive plants to keep them snug over winter. It gives that extra peace of mind. I've got a greenhouse, but I don't like to heat it because it costs a lot. And by doing this, it's a cheap and effective way just to keep the worst of the chill off and stops things freezing solid. If you've got lots of bubble wrap, perhaps it came in a big sheet, then you can use it to insulate your greenhouse or cold frame by just securing it to the frame with tacks. And the bigger the bubbles, the better really, because it'll trap more air. Not so much double glazing as bubble glazing. You could also use bubble wrap to create smaller compartments within a larger greenhouse, so you only have to warm up a smaller area. Padded envelopes like this are great for storing garden saved seeds, and you can break down larger packets into smaller little containers for your seeds as well. Just seal them up with some tape. The padding will keep the seeds not just insulated but protected as well. Then you can use one of these packets of silica gel, whose job it is to suck up moisture and keep the air nice and dry. Just drop one into your packet before sealing it up. And I also like to drop them into my general seed box to keep everything nice and dry in there too. Pesky polythene pouches filled with air make excellent plant ties. The first job is just to stab the air pockets so there's no air left in them. An incredibly satisfying job. And then they often come with these perforations here, and you can just tear them apart like this. And then you can use this to either, say, tie a tree to its stake so it's not rubbing against each other, or just to tie in your tomatoes to their supports, for example. Nice and easy. Polystyrene has really great insulating properties. You can use sheets of it to insulate, say, sheds and outbuildings by securing it to the ceiling or the walls. Or use packaging boxes like, say, fish boxes to house seedlings to act as a temporary and portable cold frame, ideal on chilly nights when you just want to keep that chill off. Now, polystyrene is also very light. It's often recommended to fill the bottom of large pots with it to save on the weight and potting mix, but I do not recommend this because if it gets mixed up with the potting mix, it makes it very hard to recycle, and then it will persist in the environment for a long time. It's also got some pretty nasty chemicals in there which you don't want leaching into your potting mix and into your food. Sections of brown paper like this here are ideal for wrapping up fruits such as apples. By wrapping up individual apples, you're keeping them separated so that any in-store rot doesn't pass from one fruit to the next, thereby spoiling the whole stored crop. So more of your hard-won produce stays fresher for longer. Left intact, boxes make an excellent breathable storage option for onions, potatoes and other root vegetables. Combine boxes with polystyrene and you have a superbly insulated solution for overwintering frost-sensitive bulbs and tubers such as dahlia. Or if you don't have any polystyrene packaging, then put them inside a small box and then nestle that inside a bigger box and then pack the gaps with something that's going to insulate it. Scrunched up newspaper or just paper, bubble wrap of course, some of that sheep's wool insulation you get, or things like packing peanuts. They all work great. Just store them somewhere cool and well ventilated and up off the ground, out of the way of vermin. Before we move on to more ideas, please take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can access even more clever tips and tricks over the coming months. Almost everything arrives in a box, which means lots and lots of cardboard. The really great news is that cardboard is incredibly useful in the garden, so much so that I save every scrap of cardboard to use out here. Of course, reusing any packaging makes environmental sense, and it will also save you money. Now we're talking. Only ever use plain cardboard like this in the garden. You don't want anything with a glossy coating because it's quite likely to introduce plastics into the garden, which we obviously don't want. Now, most boxes now come with this biodegradable tape, which you can just leave on. But if you do get any boxes with old sticky tape, then just be sure to peel it all off before you use it. And you should also remove any staples as well. Cardboard is made from plant fibres, which naturally biodegrade, but only after several weeks. We can use this to our advantage by flattening them out and laying them on the ground to suppress and cover weeds, just long enough to kill them off and see them off for good. I like to lay my cardboard in the base of new raised beds and on paths to help suppress the weeds. We can use cardboard to cover over quite a large area and hold it in place with, say, a wood chip mulch, which is exactly what I did with this area behind me here. This way it will deprive those weeds of light, enabling the soil, compost or wood chips to be laid on top without fear of vigorous weed growth bursting through. Generously overlap the cardboard so there aren't any gaps, and if you have lots of cardboard, consider a double layer for extra peace of mind. The mulch was then pushed aside and the cardboard cut and folded open to create individual planting spaces for fruit bushes and other plants. Weeding through this area by hand would have taken a lot of unnecessary hard work. The cardboard, well, that's done 90% of the weeding for me. And then as the cardboard has rotted down, it's helped add valuable organic matter, contributing to the soil structure and the soil life within it. Bear in mind that the cardboard and wood chips will need replacing from time to time as they rot down into the soil. Cardboard makes an excellent carbon-rich addition to the compost heap. This is really useful for balancing out greens such as grass clippings or weeds, for example. Just tear it up into small pieces. This is really useful during the growing season when browns such as old dead leaves can be a lot harder to get hold of. Do always keep a stash of cardboard to hand for this very purpose. And if you're not online ordering all the time, well then ask friends and family to save cardboard for you. All that consumerism may not be great for the planet, but by doing this, we can at least give something back to the earth. Quite literally in this case. Cabbage collars are just that. Collars that fit around cabbage family crops to keep pests such as cabbage maggots or cabbage root flies from laying their eggs onto their host plants. You can buy cabbage collars or you can make your own. Fitting your collars couldn't be easier. Just slit them in like this, right to the middle of that star shape, and then push them into place. Now, as the stem expands and swells, those slits will push up and open, allowing the stem to expand no problem at all. These collars are great around cabbages, but of course they apply for any of the cabbage family plants, such as these kale here, and also Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and so on and so forth. The best thing is, as well as thwarting those maggots from laying their eggs there, they will also keep weeds at bay around young plants as they establish. Start by cutting out your cardboard to a diameter of around 6 inches or 15 centimetres. We then want to make a cut from the edge just to the middle, make a star-shaped slit right at the centre, and this will help the collar to fit snugly around the stem. That's good to go. Most pests feed above ground, of course, but that doesn't necessarily make them any easier to tackle. Take for example the cucumber beetle, a common pest of squash family plants in North America. It's notoriously hard to pick off by hand because of its size. But there is another option. Lay down cardboard around the affected plants, then just shake them off. The cardboard can then be gathered up and removed in one go. Many bugs are a gardener's best friend, like the lacewing for example, which has a voracious appetite for pests like aphids. Corrugated cardboard such as this has lots of tiny nooks and crannies which are great for lacewings to overwinter in. So let's make a little cosy home for them. You'll need a bottomless bottle like this here. I'm also going to make 2 little holes in opposite ends using some scissors there. You'll also need some corrugated cardboard and a little wooden dowel or stick or something like that. Then we're just going to simply roll the cardboard up into a tight tube like this and then stuff it into that plastic bottle. And then we're going to hang this outside just to stop it slipping out. We push in a wooden dowel through the holes like this, and that way when it's hanging up it's not going to go anywhere. We could just wedge this in between some branches in a tree, but it's much easier to tie it up and then hang it. That way all of the moisture drips out from it and doesn't collect in that cardboard, which we want to keep nice and dry. There we are, let's go and hang it up. So just hang your lacewing hotel up in the branches somewhere relatively sheltered, ideally with a tree that's had some aphid problems before, because then those lacewings will be on hand to do their devastation to the aphid population. Now you could mix cardboard with other ingredients to make a bug hotel that attracts a range of beneficial bugs. But remember to clean out the ingredients for your hotel every now and then, maybe once a year, to avoid the build-up of parasites and disease. There are many ways to repurpose just about anything. And if, like me, you hate seeing things go to waste, you're going to love this playlist. In it, you'll find lots of nifty ideas for making something from nothing, including some ingenious solutions for keeping crops cozy this winter. How satisfying. I'll catch you next time.